My brother stood in our family living room, waving a designer watch in my face. "You'll die poor like always, just like Dad said you would." Mom laughed from the couch, nodding in agreement. I stood there silent, holding the foreclosure notice I came to warn them about. My name is Vanessa, and I'm 34 years old. I'm a financial analyst at a mid-sized investment firm. Nothing flashy, but stable. Growing up, I was the problem child because I asked too many questions about money. While my brother Derek got business degrees funded by Dad, I worked my way through community college. My parents always said I'd never understand real wealth because I was too cautious, too boring. I wasn't the one throwing money around at restaurants or buying luxury cars on credit. But I had something they didn't. I actually understood how money worked. I watched them make terrible decisions for years, refinancing homes to buy toys, investing in schemes, ignoring warnings. They called me paranoid when I suggested saving, laughed when I mentioned budgeting. "You're just jealous," Derek would say, "because you'll never have what we have." What they didn't know was that I'd been watching their financial house of cards for years, and I knew exactly when it was going to collapse. If you've ever been the boring one in your family because you were actually responsible, hit that subscribe button. I want to hear from everyone who got laughed at for being careful with money. Drop your story in the comments. Let's celebrate the ones who plan ahead. Click hype or like. Let's go. I drove to my parents' house on a Saturday morning with a specific purpose. I'd seen the public records. Their house was in pre-foreclosure, 90 days behind. My brother's successful car dealership had 3 liens against it. I wanted to warn them privately, offer to help them make a plan before it was too late. When I arrived, there was a family brunch happening. Derek, his wife Madison, my parents. They were drinking mimosas, laughing about their upcoming vacation to Italy. "Vanessa, we didn't know you were coming. We would have ordered more affordable food," Derek joked. I tried to speak privately with Dad, but he waved me into the dining room. "Whatever you need to say, you can say in front of everyone. We don't keep secrets." I took a breath. "Dad, I saw the foreclosure notice. You're 3 months behind. I can help you restructure." The room went silent, then erupted in laughter. "You? Help us?" Madison nearly spat out her drink. Derek stood up, his face red. "You've been spying on us? Checking public records like some obsessed stalker?" Mom looked disgusted. "Vanessa, this is a new low, even for you." Dad's voice was ice cold. "We don't need financial advice from someone who drives a 10-year-old Honda. Derek got in my face. "You're just bitter because you'll never have what we have. You'll die poor like always, just like Dad always said. You'll be eating ramen in some studio apartment while we're in Tuscany," Madison added. I tried one more time. "I'm serious. The bank will call. You need to get out," Derek shouted, pointing to the door. As I left, I heard Mom, can you believe her, trying to ruin our brunch with her jealous little fantasies. I sat in my car, hands shaking, and I made a decision. I was done trying to save people who thought they were too good to be saved. 2 days later, Derek posted a family photo from the brunch on Facebook. The caption read, "Sunday fun day with the successful side of the family," followed by champagne and sparkle emojis. I was cropped out of the original photo, but he'd added a comment. "Some people prefer to spread negativity instead of celebrating wins. Not in this house." Madison commented underneath, "So grateful we don't have poverty mindset energy around us anymore," with a prayer hands emoji. Relatives I hadn't heard from in years started liking it. My aunt commented, "Family first? No room for jealousy?" I didn't respond, but I screenshot everything. 3 weeks later, my cousin Taylor was getting married in 6 weeks. I received a call from my mom. Taylor decided to downsize the wedding. She had to cut some people. Let me guess, I'm cut, but Derek and Madison are still invited? Well, they're helping pay for the bar, so yes, you understand. I was in Taylor's wedding party. I was supposed to be a bridesmaid. She said it was too awkward. Having you there after you tried to sabotage the family with those lies. Mom's voice was casual, like she was discussing the weather. "Derek told everyone what you did. People are worried about what you'll say next." I hung up and sat in silence for an hour. 2 weeks later, Dad called. "We're having a family meeting on Thanksgiving. You need to be there." I arrived to find it was an intervention, for me. Derek had printed out articles about financial jealousy and obsessive behavior. There was a literal PowerPoint. How Vanessa's negativity affects this family. Madison went through slides about my pattern of trying to control others with fear. "You've always been threatened by Derek's success," Dad said. We think you need therapy, Mom added gently like she was doing me a favor. Derek's final slide read, moving forward without toxic energy. It included a bullet point. Vanessa agrees to stop discussing family finances. They'd printed out a document for me to sign. If you want to remain part of this family, you'll sign it, Dad said. I stood up slowly, looking at each of them. I don't need to sign anything. Then you're choosing to leave, Derek said triumphantly. No, I'm choosing to let you learn on your own. I walked out, and this time I didn't look back. What they didn't know was that I hadn't just stumbled upon public records. For the past 2 years, I'd been documenting everything. Every luxury purchase Derek posted on Instagram. Every time Dad bragged about his investment opportunities at family dinners. Every refinance, every new credit line, every business loan. See, when you work in financial analysis, you learn to see patterns. And their pattern was a textbook case of overleveraged assets and unsustainable spending. I built a complete financial profile, debt-to-income ratios, spending velocity, risk exposure. Not because I wanted to hurt them. I genuinely wanted to help. But after Thanksgiving, after that intervention, something shifted. I created a folder on my encrypted drive, Family Financial Reality. Inside were public records, screenshots, timeline documentation. I also had something else they didn't know about. 3 months earlier, I'd been contacted by someone from Dad's bank. An old colleague of mine who'd moved to their risk management department. Vanessa, I can't give you details, but if you're still in contact with your father, you might want to prepare yourself. What do you mean? Their portfolio is being flagged, multiple accounts, it's not good. I'd asked him to keep me informed off the record. Now, sitting alone in my apartment after Thanksgiving, my phone buzzed. It was him. It's happening, tomorrow morning, thought you should know. I took a deep breath. What they didn't know was that I'd tried to build them a lifeboat, but they'd burned it while calling me paranoid. I met my childhood friend Julian for coffee the next morning. Julian and I went to high school together. He's now a financial attorney specializing in bankruptcy and debt restructuring. You look like you haven't slept, he said. I told him everything. The intervention, the document, the cousin's wedding. Van, you did everything right. You can't save people who don't want to be saved. I know, but they're still my family. Julian leaned forward. Here's what you need to understand. When this hits, they're going to blame you even harder. They'll say you manifested it, or cursed them, or secretly sabotaged them somehow. I laughed bitterly. They already think I'm obsessed, so you need to protect yourself. Documentation, distance, clear boundaries. He slid a business card across the table. When they call, and they will, you send them to me. I can't pay for their legal help, Julian. I'm not offering to help them. I'm offering to protect you. Meanwhile, my family's social media was still going strong. Derek posted a photo of a new Rolex. When you work hard, you play hard, with a flexing emoji. Madison shared vacation countdowns. Italy in 3 weeks. Can't wait, with Italian flag and airplane emojis. Dad posted a motivational quote. Surround yourself with winners, not people who fear success. I resisted the urge to comment on any of it. That evening, Julian texted me. It's starting. Multiple banks filed claims today. It'll be public by Monday. I didn't respond. I just sat on my couch, eating takeout from my favorite cheap Thai place. My phone stayed silent all weekend. They had no idea what was coming, and for the first time in my life, I wasn't going to warn them. Monday, 11:47 a.m. I was at work when my phone started exploding. 7 missed calls from Derek, 4 from Mom, 2 from Dad. Voicemails piled up, each more panicked than the last. Derek's first message, call me back right now. His third message, Vanessa, the bank called. There, just call me back. I didn't call back. At lunch, I saw Derek had texted, oh, we need to talk. Family emergency, please. The please almost made me crack, but I remembered the intervention. Instead, I forwarded Julian's business card. If you need legal help with financial issues, contact this attorney. My phone rang immediately. It was Derek. I answered. Hello? What the hell, Vanessa? I don't need an attorney. I need help. The bank is foreclosing on Dad's house. I know. I tried to tell you 3 months ago. This is different. They're coming after my dealership, too. They're freezing accounts. Madison's cards aren't working. His voice cracked. And I could hear Madison crying in the background. Derek, I told you at that brunch. You called me a stalker. You didn't tell us it was this bad. I tried to. You threw me out. Then you made a PowerPoint about my toxic energy. Silence on his end. Then, so you're just going to let us lose everything, out of spite? No, out of respect for your choices. You made it clear you didn't want my help. Vanessa, I'm forwarding you to someone who can actually help you restructure. His name is Julian. Tell him I sent you. We can't afford an attorney. He'll work with you. But Derek, don't ever call me poor again. I hung up. Over the next week, the foreclosures became public record. Dad's house, listed for bank sale. Derek's dealership assets being liquidated. The Italy trip, canceled. My phone stayed quiet except for one text from Julian. Your brother called. They're facing about $340K in combined debt. I'm helping them file for reorganization, I replied. Thank you, he responded. You were right about everything, down to the dollar. How'd you know? Because I was paying attention. 3 months later, my family had lost the house. The dealership was under new ownership, and Derek and Madison had moved into a small rental. My parents were living with my aunt, who ironically now saw the full picture. I received one letter, handwritten, from my father. Vanessa, I don't know how to say this. You were right. I'm sorry we didn't listen. I'm sorry for what Derek said to you. I'm sorry we made you feel small when you were trying to help. I don't expect forgiveness. I just want you to know that I finally see it. You were the only one who really understood. I read it 3 times, sitting in my small apartment with my old Honda parked outside. I'm not rich. I don't have a Rolex or a vacation house, but I have peace, savings, and a future that isn't built on credit cards. I folded the letter and put it in a drawer. Maybe one day I'll respond. But today, I'm just grateful I trusted my own judgment, even when it cost me everything. Because it turns out I didn't lose anything real. If your family ever mocked you for being careful with money, or called you cheap when you were just being smart, I want to hear your story. Subscribe and tell me in the comments. Were you the responsible one nobody listened to? Drop your experience below. This community sees you, and we know being boring with money is actually being brave. Click hype to help this story reach others who need it. Did this story hit home? Let me know by liking the video and sharing your thoughts in the comments. Click hype to help this story find others who felt the same way. Your support makes a huge difference. Thank you for being here and listening to Vanessa's story. I'll see you in the next one.